Something big is coming, not a ripple, a wave. And if you're still, you can already feel it rising in the distance. A subtle swelling of emotion, memory, longing, and hope. This isn't just another astrological shift. It's a 12-year cycle turning a sacred corner. On June 9, Jupiter enters Cancer, and with it comes a flood of emotional abundance, spiritual protection, and heart-centered expansion. Jupiter is the planet of growth, wisdom, and grace. It blesses everything it touches. And Cancer, the cosmic mother, rules home, intuition, belonging, and emotional memory. When these two archetypes meet, something magical happens. Growth no longer comes from ambition. It comes from nurturing. Progress is no longer about the climb. It's about how rooted we are in what truly matters. This is the beginning of a year-long journey where expansion comes through emotional truth, through building sacred spaces within ourselves and our homes, and through honoring our most ancient inner needs. For the collective, Jupiter in Cancer brings a return to heart wisdom. Dreams may become more vivid, synchronicities more personal. Families, biological or chosen, may feel more important than ever. Emotional safety becomes the new wealth. This transit encourages all of us to grow by softening, to thrive by caring, and to believe that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the gateway to divine alignment. And now let's walk through how this sacred shift will bless each of the 12 zodiac signs. These messages are short, but carry the frequency of encouragement and guidance. Let them open a door. Aries, your roots are being watered. Let go of the pressure to conquer and tend to your home, your family, and your emotional center. This year, the strongest thing you can do is protect your peace. Taurus, your voice becomes your magic. What you speak, write, and teach now can nourish not just minds, but hearts. Share your truth with softness. It will magnetize those who are meant to hear you. Gemini, emotional abundance flows through your values. This is the year to create sustainable wealth, money that feels good, relationships that honor your worth, and choices that align with your soul's needs. Cancer, Jupiter is in your sign, and the light is returning to you. Expansion comes from claiming your space, your body, and your story. You are not too sensitive. You are finally being seen. Leo, your dreams are opening sacred portals. Quiet time, spiritual practices, and deep inner work will guide you to new purpose. The more you rest, the more you receive. Virgo, your community becomes your cocoon. Seek out people who reflect your highest self and release connections that no longer feel emotionally nourishing. This is the year to find your soul family. Libra, your public path is shifting toward emotional legacy. Let your career be led by heart. When you align your work with your inner truth, recognition and support will follow naturally. Scorpio, it's time to grow beyond your walls. Travel, study, or explore spiritual paths that open your heart and expand your worldview. The world has more to offer you than you've allowed yourself to receive. Sagittarius, deep transformation is your blessing. You're being asked to go into the emotional depths, not to get lost, but to reclaim your power. Healing now will open you to future abundance. Capricorn, your relationships are the mirror of your soul. Let love in, not just romantic, but the love that nurtures, steadies, and believes in you. Be willing to receive care, not just give it. Aquarius, daily rituals become sacred. This year, even the small things, how you eat, how you rest, how you serve, will carry spiritual significance. Let emotional wellness guide your routines. Pisces, creativity and joy are your medicine. Jupiter is breathing life into your inner artist, your inner child, and your need to play. Let this be a year where you remember what lights you up. As this great wave rises, know that you're not meant to control it. You're meant to ride it. Jupiter in Cancer asks you to grow by feeling more, not doing more, to expand your life by expanding your heart. Let this be the year you return to what truly matters. Let this be the year you find home, not just in a place, but in your soul. Jupiter in Cancer is not just a transit, it's a spiritual reset. The last time this happened was 12 years ago. So ask yourself, where were you emotionally? What was home to you then? Who were you learning to nurture? This new cycle begins a deep, heartfelt expansion, not only for individuals, but for the collective soul. When Jupiter, planet of abundance and divine timing, moves into the nurturing waters of Cancer, the energy becomes deeply protective, maternal, and wise. Unlike the bold external growth Jupiter shows in fire or air signs, Cancer teaches us to grow from within, to heal, feel, and trust, to root down so our lives can bloom upward, not from ego, but from emotional truth. This transit will shift priorities. For many, the desire to create a home, not just physically, but energetically, will rise. The urge to protect what matters, to return to sacred bonds, to embrace spiritual traditions, and to create emotional safety will be strong. You may notice more dreams about childhood, more reflections on the past, more longing for simplicity, warmth, and real connection. This is not regression, it's remembrance. And Jupiter doesn't just bring awareness, it brings blessings. For those willing to open their hearts, this year can be a time of gentle miracles. A deepening of family ties, the mending of emotional wounds, a soulful pregnancy, literal or symbolic, the return of a friend who once felt like home, the courage to speak feelings you've buried. These are the kinds of gifts Jupiter in Cancer delivers, not flashy but deeply spiritually rich. This is a time to honor your emotional intelligence. Intuition sharpens under this influence. You might feel guided to trust gut feelings, embrace synchronicities, or reconnect with ancestral wisdom. And when you do, life begins to feel less random and more like a quiet unfolding of something sacred. We are entering an era where compassion becomes currency, where emotional depth becomes spiritual leadership, where care is not weakness, but power. And it's not just about you. This is a collective wave. As Jupiter moves through Cancer, the world begins to hunger for more softness, more truth, more safety. Public conversations may shift toward healing, motherhood, food security, mental health, and emotional resilience. Movements that center around care, care for others, care for the earth, care for the soul, will rise in resonance, and so will the opportunity to tune out the noise. Jupiter in Cancer encourages you to protect your emotional ecosystem, to say no without guilt, to choose stillness over hustle, to anchor yourself in what nourishes you. Let this be your time to ask, what does my soul call home? And am I willing to create a life that honors that? Take a breath. Let the wisdom of what's already unfolding settle in your body. Because right now we are standing in the in-between, the sacred pause between realization and embodiment. This is the part where we shift from understanding to allowing. Jupiter in Cancer doesn't just want you to know that emotional growth is coming. It wants you to live it, to make space for it, to surrender to it like the tide, not knowing exactly where it's pulling you, but trusting it's moving you closer to home. This part of the transit, the early days, the threshold, can feel tender. You might find yourself remembering things that haven't surfaced in years. Longings, regrets, people, places. You may cry without a clear reason. You may laugh at something small and feel overwhelmed with gratitude. Let all of it come. This is how Jupiter begins its work in Cancer, not through explosions, but through subtle emotional blooming. Don't rush past this part. The emotional sensitivity you're feeling is a sign that your soul is softening in all the right places, that your inner waters are beginning to move. And when water moves, it cleanses. It dissolves what no longer belongs. It finds the cracks in your armor and lovingly breaks them open, not to hurt, but to heal. Let this be a time of inner tending. Start treating your emotions like sacred visitors. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling underneath the surface? What needs attention, not judgment? What kind of love have I been withholding from myself? And know this, under Jupiter in Cancer, any time spent caring for yourself is amplified. Any effort to love, to nourish, to support others or yourself will ripple outward with grace. This is a time when the universe responds quickly to heartfelt energy. What you do with love now multiplies. So in this pause before we conclude, return to your own center. Close your eyes, breathe into your belly. Let your nervous system know it's safe to feel again. This is not just a new chapter. It's a new rhythm, one that beats in time with your heart, your memories, your spirit. Now we arrive not at a conclusion, but at a sacred threshold. The gate is open, the tide is turned. Jupiter is in Cancer, and the great return begins. This isn't the kind of transformation that shouts. It doesn't demand. It doesn't break down your door. Jupiter in Cancer changes you quietly, from the inside out, from the small, tender moments where your soul finally exhales, from the nights you cry without shame, from the meals shared, the phone calls made, the gentle words spoken that seem so simple but hold galaxies of love inside them. This is a new chapter, yes, but it's also a return to what we once knew instinctively, that emotional connection is sacred, that safety is a spiritual practice, that home isn't a place but a frequency we carry and protect. Under this transit, the universe invites you to rebuild your life, not from ambition, but from meaning, from comfort, from intuition. You will grow, not because you push harder, but because you trust deeper. And what blossoms from that trust won't just be visible results, it will be inner richness, emotional fluency, a profound sense of belonging to your own life. Jupiter is the teacher, Cancer is the nurturer. Together, they don't ask you to outperform. They ask you to feel more honestly and to live in alignment with what actually sustains you. This might mean letting go of goals that no longer speak to your heart. It might mean turning toward healing that once felt too raw. It might mean calling someone and saying, "I need you," or "I forgive you," or "I'm ready to come home." That's the gift of this time. We're being given permission to return to our softness, to remember that sensitivity isn't a flaw. It's our most divine instrument for connection, for creation, and for truth. And this year, that softness becomes the soil in which everything will grow. For those walking the spiritual path, this is a time to listen in new ways, not through the mind, but through the body, through feeling. You may find that your prayers become quieter, but more honest, that your rituals shift toward comfort and warmth, that your ancestors feel closer, that the moon seems to speak more clearly, that your dreams no longer feel random but filled with messages shaped by love. There may also be grief, old grief rising like waves, asking not to be solved but witnessed. This too is growth. Jupiter in Cancer doesn't avoid the hard emotions. It holds them, cradles them, softens them with grace. This is the year to stop running from your emotional past and start reparenting it, to become the safe space you always needed. And when you do, something beautiful happens. Your external world begins to reflect the peace you've cultivated inside. Relationships deepen, conversations slow down. The urge to compete dissolves into a desire to connect. You may find yourself redefining success, not as what you achieve, but how you feel when you come home at the end of the day. Not as how much you've done, but how deeply you've loved. You may create new family, spiritual family, soul tribe, chosen kin. You may notice that nurturing others feels like nurturing yourself. You may notice that giving care brings healing, not depletion. You may finally believe that you're worthy of receiving love without earning it. And as a collective, we will move, slowly but steadily, toward a world that values care as much as conquest. A world that chooses softness not as a reaction, but as a philosophy. A world where our shared emotional lives are honored as sacred, and no one has to harden just to be respected. So let this be your mantra. I am allowed to grow gently. I am allowed to expand through peace. I am allowed to be both soft and strong, both whole and healing, both present and becoming. Let this be the year you say yes to nourishment, yes to remembering, yes to love in all its quiet forms. Let this be the year you claim your emotional inheritance, not just the wounds, but the wisdom, the resilience and the beauty you were always meant to carry. Let this be the year you come home to yourself. Thank you for opening your heart to this transmission. If this touched something true in you, support the journey by liking and subscribing to Fast Lane to Freedom. Together we rise, not with force, but with feeling, under the gentle light of Jupiter in Cancer.